I think the next point probably should be about like branded content, because we kind of touched on paid media. And I think often, you know, it's one of the first things that we'll say to brands when we work with them is like, oh, do you want to put paid media spend behind this? And people get confused about branded content. Sometimes people think that's taking the file, uploading it on to the brand's Instagram account and then boosting that or running an ad with that. But actually the best way to do branded content is to run it as a branded content ad from the influencer's account, but that comes at an additional cost.
Yeah, but it's about getting as much, as, you know, hate to say it, but value from that collaboration as possible, and you can kind of have it coming from the influencer's account, boosting it that way to reach more kind of users. So it's not actually appearing as blatant as some kind of paid social ads can sometimes appear. And, you know, ultimately this is what brands want to do. They want to kind of reach new users and everything, and kind of, you know, work with those influencers to kind of, you know, attract more people to their brand.
It can be a little bit tricky, and I understand where brands are coming from. You know, if you've paid, I don't know, 15 grand for a macro and you're like, well, I've got to pay again to increase the reach. So sometimes I can understand where brands are coming from with macros, for example, because in theory, you're paying for the reach. So why would you pay again for the reach? However, it just depends what your goals are. But one of the ways we've seen that work best is if we take nanos, for example, that are naturally going to be cheaper. You know, we would still always suggest to pay them. But if you then run ads off of their account, you're not sort of paying double, if that makes sense, to hit people. And also it helps the nanos because it's getting them exposure on their account. So it's kind of like a win-win for both sides. And quite often with nanos, because they're getting exposure, they won't put additional billing on for branded content, right? So it's just about being clear of what you want from the influencers from the get-go and negotiating that up front.
And equally for the influencer to understand what's in it for them as well. It's a two-way partnership, and that's what needs to be remembered. It's not like you are just buying media space or something through an influencer. It's equally the influencer wants to be attracted to you and your brand and actually want to kind of work with you. So it's all about finding the right sort of people to kind of bring that message to life.